Now on Sunrise and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, commercial ships may soon have a way into the Port of Baltimore. Plans are underway to create an alternative channel near the collapsed bridge. And Alex Murdaugh was sentenced yesterday to 40 years in prison after pleading guilty to 22 federal financial crimes charges and is ordered to pay $8.7 million in restitution. Senate Bill 4 heads back to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals Wednesday morning. Attorneys for the state of Texas will try to convince a three-judge panel SB 4 does not violate the U.S. Constitution.
And we've got just a few more showers out there on our radar. Let's step in with a dry line that's coming through our area, but as soon as that passes, the sun is here to stay. And we'll take a look at that, the weather coming up.
The Astros got their first win, but even more importantly, history at Minute Maid Park. I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Carolina Astrain.
And I'm Parker Cox.
And today it's the second day of April 2024. The time is now 6:31 on our Tuesday morning and it's Reconciliation Day.
Ooh, that's a good day. Always good to get right with people.
Yeah, it's a time to make amends with someone that maybe you've wronged in the past, and we all make mistakes.
Yes, we all mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
That's a good day to go tell somebody you're sorry.
Well, Parker, are we going to be asking the weather to apologize later today?
That's a good one, Carolina.
It is very humid lately, Parker. I've been trying to fight all the moisture.
It has been a little humid the last few days, but the good news is right now, as we speak, we have a dry line coming through, and that is drying us up right now. That's why it's starting to get a little bit breezy out there right now, and also just a tad bit cool, just a tad bit up in the northern counties. But right here in Victoria, not cool yet. Right now it's 72 degrees. Still just a tad, actually nope, not humid anymore. 46% humidity as that dry line has officially came through the area with their winds north at 12 miles an hour. Probably gusting right now, probably between 20 to 25. And that's going to stick around all day today. We'll take a look at that in just a second because right now all of our temperatures are in the low 70s this morning. Got in the mid 70s along the coast because you're next to that water. But so you can see the 60s starting to come our way. That's where the little bit cooler air, more dry air is going through the area. In fact, you can actually see right where the dry line is, going right through Bay City right about now, giving them a couple of light showers, maybe even one tiny little moderate shower over there, but everything behind it, as you can see, nice and clear, and that's why the sun is coming out today, and it's here to stick around all week long. With our front arriving tonight, though, it's going to be a real weak cool front coming tonight. And that's why I put still warm this week because we're still in the 70s and 80s. But then clouds start picking up later this weekend ahead of that eclipse coming on Monday. But with that sun coming out today, it's going to get nice and warm today, getting up to about 83, 84 today. But like I said, those breezy conditions today, probably gusting between 20 to 25 today. But we've got lots more of that to come and more beautiful weather still coming. And we'll take a look at that in just a few moments. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. Commercial ships may soon have a way into the Port of Baltimore. There are plans to create a temporary alternate channel near the collapsed bridge that will allow commercial vessels to access the port. The channel is expected to span the northeast side of the bridge. The temporary channel will be marked with government-lighted aids to navigate and will have a controlling depth of 11 feet, a 264-foot horizontal clearance, and a vertical clearance of 96 feet. Federal leaders are operating a 2,000-yard safety zone around the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Vessels must continue to receive permission to enter the zone. Alex Murdaugh was sentenced yesterday to 40 years in prison after pleading guilty to 22 federal financial crimes charges. The disgraced former lawyer was also ordered by the judge to pay more than $8.7 million in restitution. Monday's sentence handed down by the U.S. District Judge Richard Gergel can be served at the same time as a 27-year sentence previously imposed by South Carolina for related crimes. Murdaugh is already serving life in prison without parole for killing his wife and son in 2021. Senate Bill 4 heads back to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals Monday morning. Attorneys for the state of Texas will try to convince a three-judge panel SB 4 does not violate the U.S. Constitution. 25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick spoke with an immigrant advocacy group standing against the bill.
Unfair and even racist are words used by critics of Senate Bill 4.
Time is one of the most bold examples of an attempt to just legalize racial profiling.
Texas lawmakers behind SB 4 say it is necessary for border security. Governor Greg Abbott shared this statement regarding the law back in February. Texas has the right to defend itself because of President Biden's ongoing failure to fulfill his duty to protect our state from the invasion at our southern border. Fast forward to March 19th, the Supreme Court ruled the law could take effect.
Right. These are choices that each one of those lawmakers are making. Are they really comfortable with that choice? And
Attorney General Ken Paxton posted to X about the quote-unquote win for Texas in regards to the ruling, but the Fifth Court of Appeals refused to let SB 4 take effect as judges consider the law. SB 4 would allow Texas law enforcement to conduct arrests and deportations without federal oversight. Raices, a Texas immigration advocacy group, believes the law is unjust and dehumanizing.
if you're putting political points and or resources above the value of human life, why? Why is it that that's okay for that person?
The Biden administration maintains SB 4 interferes with long-standing federal immigration laws. Darius McCormick, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
Victoria police arrested a 17-year-old suspect over the weekend. Riley Garcia is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He's in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $50,000 bond. A two-vehicle wreck at the intersection of Crestwood and Navarro Street occupied both north and southbound lanes yesterday afternoon. It happened around 1 p.m. Both sides of Navarro were closed for a short time, with police officers directing traffic. The wreck is still under investigation, and both vehicles had relatively minor damage. It appears no major injuries occurred. The price of gold has hit a new all-time high at just over $2,262 per ounce. That price did slip just a bit during trading to around $2,254 for spot gold, but that still shows an increase of about 1%. As for U.S. gold futures, that climbed about 1.7% to more than $2,275. Gold bullion prices have also hit record highs in other currencies, including euros, the yen, Indian rupees, and the British pound sterling. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time is now 6:37 on our Tuesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. April 1st marked the beginning of Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month.
I'm ABC's Em Nguyen in Washington. Former President Trump posted a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case. What this means for his New York assets as he continues to appeal this case. Coming up.
And also coming up after the break, we'll take a look at your school bus forecast, followed by your weather and health forecast, and later on Sunrise, take another look at that nice weather to come our way this week. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If y'all tuning in with us this morning, you're looking live at Cuero, where those clouds are starting to slowly clear up as that dry line just passed through, with a couple showers down in Palacios, but nothing crazy this morning, maybe a couple raindrops. Nothing crazy, like I said, but as that dry line has passed through, it's starting to slowly chill out a little bit up there in Cuero, about 63 right now, and so is that dew point starting to dry as well with the humidity at 62%. With that wind coming through right now, it's starting to slow down in wind speeds, but I'm telling you right now, I think those winds are going to pick up as the sun comes out yet again for the second day in a row. Today, if you're sending your kiddos out the door this morning, it's going to be about 68, a little bit breezy with your wind gusts probably around 20 to 25 miles an hour, but as they're heading back home, around 83 today, got another warm day to come our way with that sun coming out of the skies yet again. But with that nice weather today, we do have a little bit of grass pollen still in the area. That's high today. Got a little rainbow going on here, orange, green, yellow, and red, but very high UV index today because that sun is going to be beaming all day today, but not just today, but all week long. And we'll take a look at that and more in just a few moments. That's it for weather. We're going to look at sports with Zach Brown.
Last night at History last night at Minute Maid Park for Ronel Blanco. The Astros already leading 10-0 in the ninth inning, but the run column was not the only column with a zero. The 30-year-old Ronel Blanco just threw the 17th no-hitter in Houston Astros history. He allowed 2 base runners. They were both walks, both to former Astro George Springer. Those were the only blemishes on his night. What a way to get your first win of the season. Hopefully this is what gets the Astros rolling. Final score 10-0. By the way, Joe Espada, the first manager ever to have their first win be a no-hitter. After being handed their first loss of the season the other night, well, last night the Texas Rangers making their first road trip of the year, and they were taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, wasted absolutely no time jumping all over Tampa. Josh Young, 3-run homer, gets the scoring started, and Texas never looked back. They led by as much as 6-0. Final score in this one, 9-3. The Rangers now 3-1 on the Young season. And we just talked about Josh Young last night. He was hit in the ninth inning by a pitch, broken wrist. No word yet on a timetable for his return. With your 25 Sports Now, I'm Zach Brown.
All right, thank you, Zach. We want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. Now to former President Donald Trump's New York civil fraud trial. The ex-president posting a $175 million bond, successfully avoiding seizure of his New York assets while he appeals the case. What we're learning about the owner of the company backing Trump.
Former President Donald Trump posting a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case, temporarily staving off any seizure of his New York assets. A judge had found Trump and his adult sons deceived lenders and insurance companies by inflating their net worth. Overnight, Trump railed against that judge on social media, claiming the case is election interference without any evidence. Trump on a Wisconsin radio show Monday.
I didn't have cases in my whole life. Can you imagine? And now I get all this stuff that has happened with that, and it's purely election. It's all nonsense.
California-based Knight Specialty Insurance Company served as the underwriter for Trump's reduced bond, a company owned by billionaire Don Henke. Henke telling ABC News, "It's more of a business decision, but I happen to be a supporter also." A court reduced Trump's $464 million bond last week while his lawyers appealed the ruling. But if the appeal fails, Trump will have to secure the original amount or authorities could begin seizing his New York properties. New York Attorney General Letitia James previously telling ABC News she's prepared to do so.
We will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Meanwhile, a judge has now expanded the gag order against Trump in a separate case where he's accused of falsifying business records related to his so-called hush money payment to porn actress Stormy Daniels. The judge in that case, Juan Merchan, is now preventing Trump from attacking his family members after Trump targeted Merchan's daughter on social media for her work with a group involved in Democratic politics. Back to the civil fraud case, Trump's bond pauses any actions against his properties until at least September, when the state appeals court is scheduled to hear arguments, meaning that court date could fall within just weeks of the presidential election. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
April 1st marked the beginning of Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. Local first responders marked the occasion by sounding off not only with their voices, but also their sirens. Fire trucks, police vehicles, and others lined up at the Dr. Petty Dodson Public Health Center parking lot at noon yesterday, while first responders and many others lined up along the sidewalk to bring attention to the cause. Megan Gum, director of the Hope Child Advocacy Center, says the more awareness brought to this issue, the better.
We're really excited about this event. It helps honor those who've been impacted by abuse. And when we get the community involved, we increase education and awareness and end abuse in our community.
The Child Abuse Sound-Off is an annual event to help raise awareness. Last year alone, over 1,000 cases of child abuse were reported in Victoria County. If you need to report abuse, call 911. And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We ask you, do you think spanking a child is a form of abuse? And I actually just verified Texas is still a state where corporal punishment in schools is legal unless you sign a form saying that you don't want your child to suffer that. So let's take a look at our viewer poll results today. 12% of you say yes, you think it is a form of abuse, and 88% of you say no, you don't think it is. Thank you for taking part in today's viewer poll. The time is now 6:46 on our Tuesday morning. Still to come, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are monitoring a second case of bird flu. Time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to country superstar Zach Bryan. The singer-songwriter turns 28 today.
Happy birthday, Zach Bryan. And also happy birthday to Pedro Pascal, The Last of Us and Mandalorian star, is turning 49 today. Happy birthday to Din Djarin from The Mandalorian. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, come to crossroadstoday.com, click on More and under Home, you see KABU to submit your birthday.
Okay, the time is now just about 6:47 on our Tuesday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today.
Yes, happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. We do have a dry line passing through us right now as we speak. In fact, you'd actually see it on radar going right through Palacios and Bay City. But as soon as that is all said and done, the sun is going to come out. But coming next Monday, the solar eclipse is coming our way, but it's not looking too great in terms of cloud cover or rain, which we'll take a look at that in just a second. Because today's weather poll, actually, today's weather poll asks, if weather permits, will you be viewing that eclipse on Monday? It looks like 55% of y'all say yes, and 45% of you say no, you will not. But to vote on today's weather poll and future weather polls, go to crossroadtoday.com/vote-weather to participate and see what everybody else says as well. Now we're going to look at your cloud cover, or at least what some of these computer models are thinking, and also the rain chances for next week. Right now, looking at the rain that is out there right now, as I just said, just looked at the radar, that dry line passing through, that's going to come through, and the sun is going to come out right around noontime, and it is going to stay out all the way through Wednesday, Thursday, and all the way through Friday. And then Friday afternoon, we might see just a really thin layer of some clouds. Mostly sunny skies expected for Friday, but then Friday night the clouds start picking up a little bit more, and on Sunday morning we could maybe see a couple showers on the morning of Sunday, and then clearing out in the afternoon. But then going into Monday, right around eclipse time, noontime, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., lots of showers and lots of clouds as of right now. But we'll take a look at that and more in just a few more moments. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. In Texas, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are monitoring a second case of bird flu. Authorities say the person worked on a farm in Texas and had direct contact with a dairy cow. The person tested positive for bird flu last week, and their only symptom was an eye infection. Texas health officials are working with local and federal partners to investigate the case. They have issued a health alert asking healthcare providers to monitor any additional cases. They also said the second case of bird flu should not impact the milk supply or present a threat to the public. Texas health leaders maintain the general public risk remains low. The Department of Health and Human Services has issued new guidance for hospitals regarding consent. In a letter to teaching hospitals and medical schools, HHS says doctors performing sensitive tests such as pelvis or prostate exams must get signed consent from the patient if they are to be under anesthesia. It said patients should have the same opportunity to consent and participate in education, whether they are awake and fully clothed or not. The department says the new guidance is meant to clarify requirements for participants in Medicare and Medicaid programs. Still to come on Sunrise News to know before you go, a mother suspected of killing her 4-year-old son appeared in court Monday. A mother suspected of killing her 4-year-old son appeared in court Monday in Washington state. Authorities believe 27-year-old Janet Garcia stabbed her son to death as many as 41 times. The body of Ariel Garcia was discovered last Thursday after the mother gave police inconsistent statements about his whereabouts. FBI agents and the South Sound Gang Task Force used Garcia's cell phone data to track her previous movements, which led to the body of the boy wrapped in a blanket. Janet Garcia is being held on a $5 million bail. Her attorney asked for a lower bail but was denied. The World Central Kitchen says 7 of its aid workers are dead following an Israeli military airstrike in Gaza. Videos show the bodies of multiple people wearing what appears to be World Central Kitchen vests. The footage also shows passports from Britain, Poland, and Australia. The U.S.-based nonprofit group confirmed the deaths, calling the reported strike unforgivable and that it would seek accountability from the Israeli government. In Washington, the White House said it was heartbroken and deeply troubled by the strike and urged Israel to investigate what happened. On Monday, a U.S. district judge denied Hunter Biden's motions to dismiss federal tax charges he faces in California. In an 82-page order, Judge Mark Scarsi rejected all 8 motions filed by Biden's legal team. Last year, Biden faced 3 felony and 6 misdemeanor tax-related charges. Biden sought dismissal of the case earlier this year, arguing prosecutors succumbed to political pressure in filing charges, claiming the ill-fated immunity agreement struck with prosecutors last summer remained in effect, saying the charges were brought in an improper venue. He has pled not guilty. By this time next year, Florida could be one of the most lenient states for abortion or one of the strictest. Its high court is letting voters decide which. 2 new rulings from the court lay out diverging paths for abortion in the state. One lets a 6-week ban take effect May 1st. That's before most people know they're pregnant. The other ruling lets voters override that law with a ballot measure this November. It would enshrine abortion rights into the state constitution. Gas prices are rising in Victoria as April begins. AAA Texas reports the average price for a gallon of gas in Victoria is $3.06 a gallon. That is up 13 cents in 1 month. AAA says uncertainty of the impact of Ukraine's targeting of Russia's oil infrastructure likely spiked oil prices recently. And we want to invite you to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And we do have time for a final look at our forecast with Parker. Parker, I'm hoping to head on to the wildlife refuge this morning. Am I going to be fighting the wind?
Well, it might be a little bit breezy today. You are correct, Carolina, but it's not going to be too bad of a day. And the background, in fact, is already not too bad of a morning. We're looking live here in Port Lavaca, where that sun's slowly starting to come up, where it's already 75 degrees out there this morning, but it's also starting to dry off out there because we've got a north wind coming through at about 14 miles an hour because we just had that dry line pass through about an hour or so ago. But right now, all of us in the low 70s and mid 70s along the coast and the upper 60s up there in the northern counties because that cool front dry line came through. But today, with that warm morning temperature, we've got another warm day today, getting up to about 83 for the afternoon. Lots more nice weather still to come for the rest of this week after that sun just here to stay. But right now, the winds are right now about double digits for sustained. Some of us are seeing some single digits, but those winds, like we were just saying, are going to pick up yet again for the second day in a row, but not as windy as it was yesterday because winds were about 40 miles an hour yesterday. Today, probably gust between 20 to 25, but we have a cool front arriving tonight, which is going to drop our temperatures just a little bit tomorrow, getting up to the mid and upper 70s, but lots more 80s and nice warm weather still to come this week.
Going to continue that cool weather trend into April.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you, Parker, and thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today, and join Karina, Don, Mac, and Zach today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Don't forget about the reconciliation